We've spent a lot of time this fall talking about Mark Dayton, Tom Emmer, and Tom Horner. After all, they are the leading candidates for governor. On the last Friday of this month, that trio will sit down on this very couch for their final TV debate. But we also want to spend time on Almanac with other candidates who want to be governor, people whose names are much less familiar. So tonight, we've invited to the program the four other candidates running for governor. Linda Eno is with the Resource Party. Farheen Hakim tops the Green Party ticket. Ken Pentel is the standard bearer of the Ecology Democracy Party. Here too is Chris Wright with the Grassroots Party. Chris, the camera's on you. You go to a door, you knock on it, someone answers it, you have 30 seconds to convince them to vote for you. What do you say?
Well, I tell them let's legalize marijuana and let's balance the budget and raise some revenue. We could bring in $1 billion. Also tell them that we could make Minnesota energy independent through biomass gasification, a way we can make a substitute for natural gas, coal, and gasoline, and all out of farm carbon feedstocks.
All right, that is 30 seconds. Very good. Farheen Hakim?
Well, I'm the Green Party candidate for governor, and I would like to get your vote. I am standing for issues such as civil rights, immigrant rights, alternative energy, energy justice, and also fiscal responsibility. We need to do what we can to balance the budget, bring some social, racial, and economic justice to Minnesota, making sure that we all are able to be on the same playing field. And then I'd ask them, what is it that you want your governor to hear?
Ken Pentel, what do you say?
Well, I say, one, I'm on the ballot with the newest political party in the state, the Ecology Democracy Party, and basically I'm running with Aaron Wallace, and we're running for structural change in 3 key areas. One, we want an economy where we measure the health of the economy based upon the health of our natural resources.
2.
So, 2, we want to decentralize political power by way of the vote, by going to proportional representation for the Minnesota House. And 3, we want to remove big money and corporate interference in our government so we can get access to our own government. So structural change first.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
In 30 seconds, Linda, how would you frame your pitch to a voter?
I would say we need to start with the untaxed gambling industry in our state and open either a state-run or a private casino. Special rights based on race are wrong. We are all Americans. I've got a great running mate. He's been a Capitol watchdog for years. His name is David Hoke. Actually, he's not my running mate. He's running for Attorney General under our party. My running mate is Howard Hansen. He has been in this fight for over 30 years in the public service industry, and please vote for us. This is the first time I'm running, and our party's been on a ballot.
Okay.
Chris, can you legalize marijuana in a state with the federal laws? It's a felony?
Well, actually, in fact, we can. The only thing that makes drugs illegal is being in possession without a license. It says in the Minnesota Constitution, Article 13, Section 7, any person may sell or peddle the products of the farm or garden occupied and cultivated by him without obtaining a license, therefore. Presumably it's already legal, but you don't think in your heart of hearts that they'll hold themselves accountable to law observance. No, prohibition's the highest law in the land. They're going to, this is the way that they can, they would defy the laws of nature and God Almighty to keep marijuana illegal. You know that.
Okay, all right. Ken, you've got a Minnesota currency?
Yes.
What's that all about?
Well, basically, I was looking at the drivers of what forces us to live beyond the means of the resource base, because I'm working on structural change. The currency, right now, the way we depend on money, and there are other states who are dabbling in this discussion, we put interest on debt. And the more interest, when we print money, we put interest on it, then we have to print more money and more money and more money, just to pay off interest. And I want to balance our relationship to the money economy by going to a zero-interest currency or voucher or coupon program of some kind, where you have zero interest, you provide it for local economy in Minnesota for real things like an in-home care person or a teacher or build a bridge or a bike trail or an earth home. So you print money for real tangible things, not just interest, which forces us to ecological overshoot. Then when we get that in circulation in Minnesota, it would be redeemable in state taxes. So now we would have an alternative currency balancing our relationship, and this is one way to end our constant having to deal with budget shortfalls every year.
All right.
So, Farheen, you're talking about energy justice on your website.
Yes.
What is that?
So right now, if you go to Xcel Energy, if you have your electricity that way, you actually have to pay more for wind energy. But the reality is wind energy is cheaper. And now the technology has advanced. In the last 5 years, solar energy is now getting cheaper than our traditional electricity, which is nuclear and coal. So I want to work so that we can actually start seeing how we can get that cheaper and better energy to everyone in Minnesota. In addition to that, I'd like to also create revenue. And some of the ways to do that is to create a wind energy co-op, a wind energy government-owned company, so that we can start utilizing our resources. We'll have more energy that we can not only sell to our own customers for a cheaper price, but we could also sell to neighboring states. I mean, it's a great way to bring some revenue to the state.
Linda, your platform calls for expansion of aquaculture?
Well, I'm not sure what all that would entail.
All right.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
On that one.
But you are interested, all of you, by the way, we checked your websites, and you all don't really say a whole lot about the budget crisis now affecting Minnesota, but you mentioned earlier on, Linda, that you think that there should be a state-run casino, which presumably then you'd use some of that revenue to try to backfill the budget.
But what comes along with the specialized Indian gambling monopoly right now come major social issues and social taxation. They started under the guise of let's help an economy develop for a group of people to become independent and financially stable, and it's been just totally the opposite. In Mille Lacs County, for instance, they're one of the highest unemployment rates in our state, but yet there's the second largest casino in our state is right there. The violence, the drugs, basically it's the ABCs of gambling, the addiction, the bankruptcies, and the crime that come with a casino environment is so expensive, and the social costs on our state, if you just started in that arena, you could be saving a lot of money.
As I mentioned, we checked your websites and found that y'all don't really talk a whole lot about the state budget crisis. Ken, do you, all the debates have centered on that nearly $6 billion budget deficit. Is that the main issue for you?
Well, no. The thing is there's a number of problems associated with the discussing of the budget because we're constantly in a cycle of budget deficits. What I want to do is there's a number of tools in the toolbox to deal with this. One, we could just switch the percentiles, the top 10% with the bottom 10% and how much who pays taxes in the state and resolve the budget deficit right there. We could put in a water fee, Leslie Davis had talked about. So right there in Minnesota, how much fresh water are you using? That's a couple billion. A pollution fee, that's a couple billion. We could talk about the currency, but the most important thing is the economic model that we depend on will not live within the means of our resources. So what happens in an ecological-based economy, which I am proposing, is we start putting in new indicators in the economy that start leading towards more local energy, local food, more walkable, bicycle, train, bus-friendly cities. Now dollars start coming closer to home, and a dollar that normally stays in the community 2 or 3 times is now staying in the community 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Now you have stable economic systems on a local level, and dollars are available, and you reduce and eliminate the need for a budget shortfall every year.
Chris, what would you do about the nearly $6 billion state budget deficit?
Well, like I said earlier, what we can do is we can raise about $1 billion in excise taxes by just legalizing marijuana. And the other thing we can do is, like they said in the July 2009 Scientific American cover page said gasoline. Well, they said the carbon feedstocks are cheap, $10 to $40 a barrel of oil energy equivalent. Well, at $75 a barrel right now, we could be paying half. Keep all the money in Minnesota, produce refinery jobs, manufacturing jobs, and farm jobs, and we can grow farm jobs, grow a lot of jobs in Minnesota just with that. That's going to raise a lot of revenue and put Minnesota back to work and make us energy independent.
Farheen, what's your budget balancing plan?
Well, I actually did talk about on my website how not only did I want to start Wind Energy and capitalize on that, but also a Minnesota state-owned bank, which has actually happened in North Dakota, and North Dakota has actually been very successful with it, and North Dakota has it with the lowest unemployment rate as well. I'd also, not only we need to create this revenue, but we also need to tax the rich. I'm just as progressive, if not more, about the taxing the rich as our Democratic Party candidate that exists out there. And it's going to be here in just a couple of weeks. But we need to also have somebody that's in the governor's position that knows how to help people that are low income and that are poor. And that's my biggest priority. I had mentioned when I was on NPR a couple of weeks ago that we really do need to get a hold of this economy, because the people that I see every day on the streets are the ones who don't have jobs, the ones that are losing their homes, the ones who have lost their homes, the ones who can't get a job because their car's been repossessed. Those are the people that I'm most concerned about in Minnesota.
When you start talking about we start looking at all the candidates in the race, there's, of course, right, left, and the Independence Party candidate. Ken, where are you on the spectrum?
It's eclectic. I'm getting a mix of all kinds. I spent about 2 years bicycling around the state of Minnesota talking about these mandates. And the mandates of proportional representation, for example, is populist. It's majoritarian. People from all parties support a multi-party proportional system for the Minnesota House. When I talk about removing big money and corporate interference in our government, it's populist. People across the board support that.
I can't really
and then the other thing is on the economy. Nobody talks about reducing the overall cost of living, and that's what I offer, and that is across-the-board support.
Linda, where are you on the political spectrum?
I'm going to say that you can't change the process. You can't change the results if you don't change the process, and I think you have to start with term limits, and the game, the system has gotten so overwhelming for the two major parties that if either of them even spoke out against the system and said, I think we need term limits, that would break the cycle of the special interest groups and the good old boy network. Mm-hmm. They would be 86th from their party.
Chris, where are you on the political spectrum?
Well, I think a lot of people, let's say libertarians, they do support the legalization of marijuana and the end of the drug war. And, of course, people on the left also support that. Being against corporate personhood, the buying, selling, and renting of politicians, being for energy independence and using hemp as the premier carbon feedstock to bring that about, legalizing marijuana and doing that. A lot of people are in support of that. In fact, more people voted for medical marijuana than they did for Barack Obama, so in Michigan, that is.
Farheen, where are you?
I'm definitely on the left. I know that's where my place is. I'm the person that was protesting the FBI raids that happened in Minneapolis just a couple of weeks ago. I'm the person that, I also believe in legalization of marijuana, but I also care about poor people. I also care about our schools. I also care about our health care. So I feel like I'm very comfortable to be on the left.
Well, I'm glad you all were on Almanac. Good luck to you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Great.